Yeah, so our session was on killer bots. Actually, it was on the killer use cases of bots, not really apps as an old app. Anyway, so we kind of went around. We went around and we discussed and argued about things that were not killer apps, and everybody basically proposed something that they were doing, and that someone else would like shoot it down and say, "That's not a killer app. I wouldn't use a bot for that." So that was part of the conversation. I think when we then also made a distinction between bots for fun, entertainment, those kind of things, and then bots for function where you want to get something done. And are these bots attempting to kind of be faster, better, cheaper, basically some good increment on what we have today, or are they kind of 0 to 1 doing something that you couldn't do, would be very hard to do without bots, and now you can do with bots. We're trying to make distinctions around that. I think we came up with, well, one thing I think we talked about in the end was that customer success, customer service was probably a very strong entry point now for bots. Basically, I've made a prediction elsewhere that all brands within 5 years are going to have their own bot. And in fact, maybe they'll have many different, depending on function. So I think that's really a very interesting on-ramp, and users are going to expect to get through, basically to talk to, start with bots and then ultimately get through humans. An interesting issue that came up is that if you make it too easy to get to people, then there's, everybody wants to just click right away and get to that person. And then you get the overload that we've had, which is what drove these hierarchical phone trees and sending users away. So I think there's a tension there in terms of the economics. But that was one category. There were people in the group who had Onyx have a little Star Trek communicator, which opens up the power of voice-based group chat to everyone who joins into this thing and has the devices, and then you can have bots basically listening. They made a whole bunch of bots listening in context and then triggering. I think another category of things we talked about was interesting, is basically not the typical, I asked the bot for this and get back some response, but basically proactive bots, bots that are pervasive, bots that are doing things passively and in the background. So examples are the things watching for when there's a discount on your Amazon product that you just bought, and then they'll go and automatically file for a refund. Or things which are basically knowing when's the right time to buy this flight, and they're just watching and it happens. Or I want this kind of an apartment, and it's watching it proactively for you. So thinking outside the bot box. Not something that we're always necessarily having a one-to-one dialogue, but where we set something and then the right actions happen, and then it can take action, not just alerting us, but possibly go through the context. That was the form of things that people were thinking of would be really killer for them. I'd also say we were actually short of just like this wide variety of amazing killer apps, and maybe that's because we only had sort of 8 or 9 people in the group, but there was a lot of interesting ideas and excitement of what bots could do.